Chapter 1. The Story of Piltover. In the heart of a rugged coastline, where the crashing waves meet the jagged cliffs, the hard-working ancestors of Piltover built the port city of Ashravazan. With their calloused hands, the founders had made a successful trading hub that would become a part of the ancient Shurima Empire and receive the shortened name of Zon. At the time, the only means to ferry goods between the eastern and western seas would be to sail around the entire continent. Then, in the year 772, the rich and affluent merchants who had control of Zon conceived a grand plan to connect the two oceans by excavating a path big enough for ships to sail through. And so they began. But not quite satisfied with the speed of the construction, the clans then decided to accelerate the project with the use of explosives. This decision brought about an event that is now called the tragedy on the river Pilt. The engineers had overcalculated the amount of explosives required, or perhaps failed to properly survey the area, and the explosion claimed thousands of lives, plunging much of the city into the depths of the waters and caverns below. Repairs and construction would begin on top of the sunken city, splitting it into two. Over the river of Pilt, a new city was born, affectionately named Piltover. Zon and Piltover exist as two separate, although symbiotic cultures, though the relationship between them remains tenuous at best. Chapter 2. The City of Progress, a City Divided. Piltover, also popularly called the City of Progress, is now the cultural center of Valoran, allowing for art, craftsmanship, trade, and innovation to walk hand in hand. The power of Piltover comes not through military might, but the engines of commerce and forward thinking. The northern side of Piltover, and thus the newer sections, are generally described to be charming with a bright atmosphere. The districts of the north are divided into Upper Piltover, New Piltover, and Midtown. On the streets of the north side, citizens are greeted by a kaleidoscope of colors and an infectious energy that never fails to lift spirits. The arched white streets are lined with brilliant star-rod lampposts, their warmth inviting travelers into a world of wonder. The air is thinner here, clearer, and carries the clinking and hissing sounds of machinery that tickles the ears, creating a symphony of innovation and progress. The sweet fragrance of freshly baked pastries lingers in the air, wafting from the quaint bakeries that line the streets, their storefronts boasting fantastical contraptions like clockwork ovens and steam-powered mixers. Bold aromas of coffee and tea blend together, emanating from the bustling cafes where citizens gather, their conversations interweaving like the intricate gears of a pocket watch. Life in the city is characterized by a perpetual sense of movement. This is Piltover. Newer structures are graceful mixtures of polished marble, latticework bronze, and shimmering glass that sit alongside older buildings of hewn stone and weathered timber. Fluted towers inlaid with gold and silver reach for the clear skies, as arching bridges span the chasms between the cliff tops. Even those dwellings that predate Hextech have since been ornamented with elaborate details to further reinforce the impression that Piltover is a city drowning in gold. The interior of Piltover's buildings are no less ornate than outside, and are often marvels of technological ingenuity in their own right. At the northernmost tip of Piltover, the Hexgate stands tall, a testament to the visionary plans of Victor and Jace, two young inventors. Atop the tower, a colossal globe of Runeterra spins, accompanied by translocating rings attached to the grand contraption. As the immense sphere revolves, the rings hone in on the desired location. High above the clouds, each ship is expertly maneuvered into the queue by air controllers, their illuminated marshalling wands guiding the way. The air resonates with a harmonious hum of power as each ship waits in eager anticipation, ready to be catapulted instantly to its destination through the pulsating energy of the Hexgate. Near the Hexgate is the University of Piltover, a beacon of knowledge and innovation nestled within the heart of Piltover. The university, with its white columns, red walls, and gold trim, stands as a testament to the city's progressive spirit. The University of Piltover is not just a place of learning, it's a community. The students are a vibrant mix of creativity and intellect. Their uniforms mirror the university's colors, a white, pure mind with a deep red passion for discovery. It features a three-piece design, with a white waistcoat draped across a gray-blue undervest. The trousers are made to match the vest, and a tie is typically adorned alongside the outfit, although the color may vary. The university's library, a grand edifice of knowledge, is the lifeblood of the campus. Students can be found engrossed in their studies, their heads buried in books and minds ablaze with curiosity. Famous for its dedication to cultivating the minds of aspiring inventors, explorers, and visionaries, students at the university are guided through a curriculum that combines traditional subjects like science, mathematics, and history, with the mesmerizing wonders of Hextech engineering, airship navigation, automatons, and even some alchemy. Their creed is, "In the noble pursuit of progress." The Explorers Guild. This prestigious establishment serves as the official headquarters for the Piltover Guild of Explorers, renowned for their daring expeditions to far-off lands and their uncanny ability to uncover ancient artifacts. Inside its walls, members are tasked with funding, monitoring, and acquiring these priceless relics from all corners of Runeterra. These precious items are then meticulously studied and displayed in one of Piltover's many museums, serving as a testament to the Guild's dedication to preserving history. Several ranks of explorers exist, with initial entry into this prestigious guild often requiring the delivery of a shiny artifact to their guild hall. The most influential individuals of Piltover live in Bluewind Court, located in northern Piltover. This is where the bulk of the clans have their mansions and heavily guarded workshop compounds. The district includes the workshop of the Horological Institute, a magnificent example of what a wealthy patron can do for an inventor. Then there's Count May's Menagerie, a type of zoo funded by Count May. It houses a large assortment of flora and fauna from across Runeterra. Heimerdinger's personal workshop resides here as well, where many inventions have been imagined, created, tested, and sold. Also here is the Mainspring Crescent, the fashionable promenade of cafes, bistros, and supper clubs. Mainspring boasts the Drawsmith Arcade, a vaulted structure of colored glass and ironwork columns containing several theaters. Further south is the residence of Corin Revek, the city's famous clockwork inventor. He lived there by selling a collection of clockwork figurines and artificial limbs. The streets of Piltover are rumored to be paved with gold, but to the disappointment of many a hopeful traveler, that is simply a metaphor. But if one is seeking a place where the wealthy flaunt their coin, such a place is the Side Reel Avenue, home to the Piltover Treasury. The Treasury is a massive building of exquisite steel, stone, and metallic gold. Inside, it holds much of Piltover's wealth spread across several currencies and raw gold itself. The ecliptic vaults here were once considered to be the most secure bank, although a singular criminal has breached their heavily reinforced walls before. Wealthy citizens can purchase the safety deposit boxes the bank offers. There is often a queue to access them. Currency exchange is also available in this bank, although not always at a favorable rate. Further south stands the magnificent clockwork vaults. Thought also to be secure, 2 men robbed the establishment and embarrassingly tricked the guards into loading a schooner with the stolen treasures, leaving nothing but a mocking playing card behind. Connected to Sidereal Avenue is the Incognia Placia. In the middle of this plaza lies the Incognium Runeterra, the lifetime's work of Valentina Zindello. The sphere is a device she claimed was able to locate any individual in the world. Mysteriously, Zindello would disappear soon after unveiling her grand invention. With her disappearance, investigators speculate that her alchemical formula for operating the device has been stolen. The contraption is left inoperable, yet the sphere remains still vigilant in the plaza. And at last, there is the Kiraman Hunting Pavilion. This exquisite building is owned by the Kiraman clan, likely built over 100 years ago. It is used as a hunting ground for the family and features a beautiful view of the city that is impossible to replicate. Chapter 3: Southern Piltover. Dilapidated buildings loom on either side, their once grand facades now mere echoes of their former glory. The previously pristine streets have succumbed to neglect, with grime and filth coating every inch, evidence of a city abandoned by hope and prosperity. As one treads deeper into the layers of the lanes, shadows dance along the walls, concealing the clandestine activities taking place just beyond perception. Neon signs flicker ominously, casting an eerie glow on the weary faces of those who come to venture these streets. Despite the neglect surrounding, there is an odd allure to this derelict place. The crumbling architecture, a testament to lost ambition, contrasts oddly with the intricate machinery that still dances with life. Although much of the south lies in the shadow of towering cliffs, it is not a city of gloom. Polished steel light wheels bring light to the depths. People laugh, party, and drink all the same as their northern counterparts. Southern Piltover breathes with a stubborn resilience, a surviving remnant of forgotten dreams. This is the culture of Zon. Southern Piltover is the older part of the city, being built first after the cataclysmic events. Unofficially called Zon, the south side includes the Alcove District, the Boundary Region, the Fissures, often called the Lanes, Lower Piltover, the Southern Harbor, Sapphilate Row, and the Piltover Graveyard. The south is where mining, industry, laborers, and their families resided. But as the wealth began to spread, so too did the city. Those who could afford to do so began construction and moving north across the river, while the day laborers, miners, chemical mill workers, and general lower class were forced to stay on the south side. With the migration of the wealthy, so too went the seat of power. Soon all politicians, municipal governors, and lawmakers took up residency on the north side of the city, as well as wealthy denizens from foreign lands, artisans, scholars, and people of high culture. Over time, things grew neglected on the south side. Instead of abandoning the real estate, the residents of the south side began fortifying and living in the fissures by building downward. Some stayed up top on the south side as the air was a bit cleaner, but without proper government representation, a lackadaisical presence of law enforcement, and the streets above and below slowly becoming slums and being run by criminal gangs. The vast majority of the South Side residents descended further and further below. As such, the upper region of the south side of Piltover is an odd collection of loosely inhabited buildings and many abandoned ones. The structures here are mostly old brick, iron, and glass, none of which is able to be properly maintained. There are still some livable residences, functioning businesses, former industrial warehouses and factories, in addition to a few decent areas. One such place is where the bathysphere is used to legally transport citizens from the upper portion to the lower portion of the south side and vice versa. But many residents have found it far easier to exploit a multitude of secret paths into the fissures through abandoned buildings converted into elevators, and the youth prefer to physically descend the rooftops and under-city piping. The south side of Piltover, including the Undercity, still falls under the legislative jurisdiction of Piltover's council, but without an official legislative representative, The wealthier citizens on the north side of the bridge, including the politicians, generally turn a blind eye to the civic and municipal needs of those poverty-stricken citizens. They continue to exploit them for cheap labor and policing them with their enforcers. Citizens of the Undercity are usually left to their own devices for survival, with crime being an acceptable means of income. Wealthier citizens love visiting Zon for its unrestricted markets. The South houses boundary markets, where division between the two sides of the city blurs, leading to thriving markets and commercial halls. Boundary markets are the most cosmopolitan of the city, where people from all walks of life and levels of society can be found for the purchase and sale of goods. Further south above ground, located at the lower end of the city, are the quays of Piltover. They are always busy, with ships from every major port passing through the waterway every day. Workers carry goods from ship to port and from port to ship. The bustle of industry on the docks seemingly never stops. Contraband and characters of questionable integrity often are smuggled through these ports, with enforcers of equally gray character accepting heavy coin purses to approve forged shipping manifests. Hexdraulic conveyors are scattered across Zon, connecting it with Piltover and its numerous city levels. Some conveyors are for public use, those that can afford it, while some for private use used mostly by barons and wealthy Piltovans. The most popular public conveyor is the Rising Howl. It is supported by 3 vertical structural beams that span the entire height of the city, from the sump to the boundary markets. At the apex sits a wrought iron wolf, howling in the wind, serving as the elevator's emblematic figurehead and namesake, accompanied by a set of steam whistles. While it is known to be named the Howl after its appearance, others swear it receives its name from the howl of a ghost of a black-veiled gentle servant who haunts the cabin. And when the howl lifts him away from his lost love in Zon, he cries in despair. Some of the natives even refer to the carriage the riders take as the belly of the wolf. Sapphilite Row is a small district in southern Piltover. It garners its name from the substance harvested from the jawfish. They have multiple rows of teeth situated in its oral cavity. Near these teeth there are several sacs of precious sapphilite. These sacs are in very high demand in places like Bilgewater due to their alchemical properties, although they have to be harvested while the fish is alive. Also in the district is Zayle's Expeditionary Outfitters and Haberdashery. This establishment produces clothing that many explorers express to be of the finest quality. Connecting northern Piltover and the southern Alcove district of the city is the Bridge of Progress. The bridge is wide, capable of accommodating 10 people standing shoulder to shoulder, and it has become the stage for several undercity rebellions. Impoverished citizens, driven by desperation and a thirst for justice, stormed across this bridge numerous times, their numbers swelling like a tidal wave. The span of the bridge wreathed in crimson smoke as they marched forth, armed with makeshift clubs, blades, bricks, and Molotov cocktails. The air filled with frenzied cries, the shattering of glass, and the thunderous approach of boots from the enforcers. The rebels fought with festering hurt and hate, but each time they were brutally suppressed. Faceless enforcers fired indiscriminately through the thick smoke, the spray of blood mixing with the fiery haze. Bodies crumpled onto the ash-strewn pavement. The desperate rebels were forced to retreat, their spirit and resolve broken by the bloodshed. And in the aftermath, tearful orphans wandered the rubble-strewn streets, crying out for lost fathers who would never return. Sorrowful men stood silent, gazing at the bridge where their dreams of liberation had ended in a bloody haze. So many of their loved ones were lost, and for what? By the morning, the great bridge stood silent, its stone stained black from the smoke and blood. The bridge, once a symbol of connection, has become more synonymous with a stark reminder of separation and an admonition of the cost of rebellion. Chapter 4. Progress presses on. Much of the recent innovation in Piltover owes its foundations to the man of progress himself, Jace Talus. Once an aspiring apprentice of the Cuisine clan, Jace is now a symbol of innovation and progress. Inspired by his past encounter when he was caught in a fierce blizzard and saved by a wandering mage, Jace then fanatically believed that there was a way to utilize magic and synergy for the good of people. Although not born with it, Jace wanted to create magic himself. With the assistance of his unlikely partner, Victor, a native of the Undercity, they began fervently experimenting for a way to stabilize hex crystals. Despite warnings from the renowned professor Cecil B. Heimerdinger, the duo finally discovered a way to stabilize and refine the hex crystals. While Heimerdinger was gravely concerned with the danger of such a magical breakthrough, Councillor Medarda, a prestigious aristocrat and disowned heir of the Medarda clan, would push to have the technology brought before the council. She was successful, and over the next few years, Hextech would allow the city to both revolutionize trade and transport itself with the founding of the Hex Gates. The Hex Gates are now a focal point for the trade, status, and power of Piltover. Chapter 5. Piltover's governing body. Piltover is an aristocratic oligarchy governed by a council consisting of the wealthiest and most influential mercantile clans. These clans include the Arvino, Cadwalder, Pharos, Geopara, Holleran, Kiraman, Medarda, Teriost, Morici, and Torek clans. The council has 7 designated seats, with some members like Heimerdinger having served since the city's inception. However, when Zahn stole Hextech research and a gemstone, the council became concerned that Zahn could use Hextech as a weapon against Piltover. Despite being a radical move, the council voted to add an 8th seat and elevate House Talus, granting Jace Talus a position on the council due to his scientific expertise. Mel Medarda, a formidable member of the council, is known for her adept skills at social manipulation. With a flick of her wrist and a sly smile, she can easily sway others to do her bidding. Despite her slender stature, she commands respect and fear from those around her. Mel often speaks of being an outcast from her homeland of Noxia, deemed unfit by her warlord mother. She has found success in Piltover's elite circles, and now heads one of the wealthiest clans in the city. Driven by ambition and a desire to put Piltover on the map, Mel stops at nothing to achieve her goals. The head of the Kiraman family occupies the next seat on the council. Cassandra leads one of the most prestigious clans in the city. She's the patron of the famous Jace Talus and his numerous inventions. It is clear that she holds strict beliefs, and her traditional views greatly shape her household and decisions made from her hand on the council. Her family has held status since the city's inception, having designed the waterlock system in the channel that led to Piltover's prolific trade. She's a stern woman and does not think highly of people from the Undercity. Haskell is a brash, self-centered, and occasionally dim-witted man with little care for much beyond the success of his trade routes. He is easily provoked, harbors animosity towards the Undercity, and is often manipulated by fellow council members. Haskell is involved in varying degrees of corruption within Piltover, such as importing illegal Noxian spirits. He is known to harbor an aversion to Councillor Salo, his distaste for the man palpable in every interaction. Despite serving on the council, little is truly known about Haskell and his clan, much like many other members who have come before him. Among the council members, Bulbok stands out as an enigmatic figure. Their appearance is robotic, with a sharp face and a cool demeanor. Little is known about their race, only that they were nearly wiped out by the destructive power of arcane magic in a catastrophic event shrouded in mystery. Some speculate that this may have been connected to the Rune Wars. Bolbok holds a deep mistrust for any form of arcane power and harbors no love for the Undercity. Shula is an imposing woman with a strange device around her neck. Similar to Bolbok, there isn't much information available about her. She values the trade network that Piltover's Hextech has enabled, but also notably speaks in support of Undercity inhabitants, claiming that the council has lost touch with them and they're still constituents. And lastly, there is Salo, a man of posh and pretentious demeanor. He revels in the opulent luxuries of upper-class life, his refined manner of speech a stark contrast to Hoskel's boisterous nature. He has opposed military action as a first response, possibly due to his hands in corrupt imports, and he often defers to the other council members for guidance. Although they are diverse, the council members are able to collaborate, often selfishly, to ensure Piltover thrives. Chapter 6: Holidays and Festivals. Progress Day is an annual festival held in Piltover. The day begins with a vibrant parade down the streets with confetti cannons sporadically showering the air with a cascade of colors enhancing the jubilant atmosphere. Spectators line the streets, enthralled with the electrical energy of the parade. The procession leads to a grand stage, where the unveiling of the festival's highlight, New Inventions, takes place. Off the stage, booths line the streets, exhibiting the inventions of those hoping to catch the eye of a wealthy patron. Citizens, aristocrats, wealthy denizens, and even council members mingle throughout the central square. As the sun sets and evening descends, the festival culminates with a grand fireworks display. The night sky illuminates with an array of colors and patterns, complementing the overall enchantment of Progress Day. The cheering crowd's eyes alight with wonder, cherishing the memories and experiences that have made this day a truly magical one. Jubilee is a local festival dating back several thousand years. The Jubilee has been celebrated every quarter century to give thanks for the sea and the bounty it brings. For modern Piltover citizens, this is a quaint and happy excuse for traditionally themed feasting. For Zonites, it has become a more somber observance. In fact, there is no Progress Day for the Undercity. It is Remembrance Day, a day to remember those loved ones lost in the geological upheaval and explosion that created the East-West Passage and submerged entire parts of the city underwater. They have an old tradition of sacrificing something personal for Remembrance Day in the hopes the next iteration would be better. It was a practice that could be traced back to the old days of the city when the people of Zon had to rebuild their lives after the devastation of the tragedy on the River Pilt. The wealth and growth of Piltover on top of those scarred ruins served as evidence to many that the tradition had merit. Roguery Night is a barely tolerated annual tradition where youthful girls and boys throughout Piltover play practical jokes on their family and neighbors. Laughter and squeals of delight can be heard echoing through the streets, along with the occasional yelp of someone falling victim to a not-so-clever prank. Chapter 7: The Currency of Piltover. Trade is Piltover's lifeblood, and its control of the principal seaway between eastern and western Valoran, in addition to the newly designed hex gates, has ensured the city's coffers fill with gold. While the nation trades with all kinds of currency from all corners of Runeterra, it also mints its own currency within the city region. The main currency of Piltover are golden hexes. The name originates from the word Hextech, silver cogs or silver gears, and bronze washers. More traditional forms of trade, such as bartering and other nefarious forms of currency, do exist in standard and illicit markets. Due to the city's importance as a trade hub, the currency has a very strong economic power around the world. Chapter 8: Fashion and Grooming. fashions quickly rise and fall in the salons of Piltover, and while most tastes tend toward formal and functional, there are those who push the boundaries of good taste and common sense with their overly elaborate displays of wealth. There are also those that augment their bodies either from necessity or for showcasing their progressive and/or wealthy status in the community. Residents of the North Side generally wear bright, form-fitting clothing with sharp angles that emanate a distinguished attitude. Their tailors have a knack for mixing refined with flamboyant. Residents in the poorer regions of the South often wear a misfit collection of leathers, rags, and clothing still bearable with patches, although richer individuals such as barons can be seen wearing brighter colors. The details have a much more crude design that is imposing, a stark contrast to the aristocratic style of northern Piltover. Piltover, being a city of luxury, boasts a multitude of grooming customs, though some are the exclusive indulgence of only its most affluent denizens. Grooming in this city transcends mere necessities like washing up. It evolves into an art form, incorporating mechanized procedures for even the most minute tasks, like the extraction of nasal hair. The very fortunate citizens may even revel in the decadent experience of a steaming shower, a luxury that is not common in this city. Complementing their cleanliness, the citizens of northern Piltover indulge in a myriad of fragrances procured from a variety of local boutiques that dot the cityscape, each scent narrating a unique tale of Piltover's opulence. Chapter 9. Cuisine of Piltover. Situated on the coast and thriving as a global trading hub, Piltover offers a culinary scene that's as diverse as it is distinctive. Dock workers and denizens of the South enjoy a seafood-rich diet, often savoring their catch of the day in hearty, aromatic stews. The people also delight in the abundant fruits available to them, with bananas and oranges being particular favorites. Piltover is home to its own citrus known as a Piltover shaddock, although those who consume it often have reviewed it as just okay. Beyond the bounty of the sea, poultry is a cherished staple, with marinated chicken holding a special place in the hearts of many. The southern Piltover palate also showcases a fondness for cold cuts and cheese, paired often with an array of spirited beverages. Despite often being perceived as a less affluent area, the South boasts a vibrant culinary identity, with brown sugar emerging as a signature ingredient. A few drinks can be seen in the South, aside from the usual beer, ale, and whiskey. Juice from the cavernberry is a delicious drink consumed here, or even kuashi, a very potent spirit made from fermented goat's milk. For the fortunate few, the likes of vintage Noxian wine or an elusive dragon fruit from Ionia might grace their table. While the aforementioned culinary delights of the Undercity and southern regions paint a tantalizing picture, it's important to note that not all food sources uphold the same standards. There are wet markets within these regions where the priority for food safety seems to be conspicuously absent. The culinary tapestry of northern Piltover, while echoing some similarities, presents its own unique charm. Inhabitants have the luxury of indulging in a plethora of freshly baked delights, from the comforting allure of pies, pastry treats, to the irresistible sweetness of cupcakes and cookies. The northern palate is one that celebrates the art of baking and fine organics. Even a simple sandwich here becomes a testament to the region's knack for turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. Oftentimes, the process that creates these dishes is no less spectacular than the meal itself. Chapter 10. Hextech Innovation. Piltover does not possess the means for mass production or factories for their most stellar inventions. But not all creations from both sides of the city are genuine in design or function. Some inventions are fraudulent knockoffs designed to extort the naive and gullible. These knockoff products masquerade as legitimate innovations, but are nothing more than cheap imitations meant to deceive and swindle. Hextech, a revolutionary blend of magic and technology, has burst onto the scene as a coveted craft. It allows for the creation of exquisite artifacts that can be wielded by anyone, not just those with natural magical abilities. This innovative technique of Hextech harnesses the potent energy locked within elusive crystals, unleashing its power in limitless ways, furthered by imagination. From powering complex machinery to producing beams of light capable of slicing through steel, Hextech is constantly producing astounding feats. The manufacturing process is shrouded in secrecy, each artificer holding their own unique approach. As a result, every piece of Hextech is a one-of-a-kind creation, adorned with rare beauty and painstakingly crafted over years of dedication. The most prominent Hextech device, the Hexgate, used for realm-warping people, vehicles, and cargo to their desired destinations across Runeterra. It charts its course by using a rotatable globe of Runeterra at the top of the tower, with each jump requiring Hexite batteries to be replaced. Due to its elevation, only airships can utilize it currently. Hextech has also led to the Pneumatube conduit, used for transporting sealed messages between the Commercia halls. A tangled network of vacuum pipers threads the city, allowing extremely rapid communication across Piltover. This technology is also vital to Piltover's police force. Hextech has found strength in several weapons, such as the Atlas gauntlets, Mercury hammer, guns, several grenade types, turrets, and golems. Chapter 11. Security of Piltover. Piltover is not only one of Valoran's least militarized city-states, but also one of the most trusting. Despite this, the city maintains a fleet of warships to safeguard the city's ports. In addition to these warships, Piltover also boasts the Wardens, a pseudo-military police force. Responsible for upholding the law in Piltover, they are supported by trade taxes and voluntary contributions from the mercantile clans. These contributions provide the Wardens with uniforms and equipment, including unique Hextech items like specialized weaponry. The Wardens don a deep blue outfit, embellished and outlined in a sharp metallic gold, sometimes including black or even white, although their uniform can differ greatly depending on their position or role within the Warden's rank. Those tasked with delving deep into the lanes will often have a breathing apparatus, or even sometimes a full face mask. The positions within their ranks are as follows. The armaments. Wardens designated in the armaments department are specially tasked in building and maintaining Warden weapons and equipment. There's investigators, sometimes also referred to as detectives. These Wardens are tasked to investigate and deduce what kind of a crime has been committed. They often collect information to solve crimes by talking to witnesses and informants, collecting physical evidence, or searching records in databases. This allows them to arrest criminals and enable them to be convicted in court. Detectives are nothing without leads. This is where an archivist shines. They collect every scrap of intel and create new possibilities where none previously existed. Then there's patrol. Wardens assigned to monitor specified areas in Piltover, to inspect their areas at regular intervals and watch for any signs of problems of any kind. These would be the Wardens most commonly encountered. Their duties include responding to calls for service, making arrests, resolving disputes, taking crime reports, conducting traffic enforcement, and other peacekeeping measures. A patrol warden is often closest to potential crime and the first to arrive on the scene of any incident. What such a warden does or fails to do at the scene can greatly influence the outcome of any subsequent investigation. The Special Weapons and Tactics Group. A special task force trained for the city's most dangerous assignments, equipped with the most advanced arsenal of the Piltover Wardens. Such pieces of their arsenal include the Hexdraulic battering ram, flash bombs, Hextech body armor, and smoke spinners. They need only to be pointed in a direction by the sheriff to tackle any objective. The sheriff is the highest known position among the wardens. This is often an elected official who serves as the chief civil law enforcement officer of their jurisdiction. The sheriff enforces court orders and mandates and may perform duties such as evictions, seizing property and assets pursuant to court orders, and serving warrants and legal papers. Also under authority of the wardens is Stillwater Hold, a prison located on an island. It holds several criminals captured in Piltover and Zon. The fort goes up to at least 40 floors and has cells for solitary confinement. The prisoners are also given tasks such as cleaning the roof or around the prison and have time allotted for mandatory exercise. Corruption runs rampant within the walls, often allowing prisoners to acquire accommodations, weapons, or attack their adversaries while a warden turns a blind eye. Although rare, offenders have also been locked away at Stillwater without trials, or sometimes without even a record of their crimes nor arrest. Prisoners are able to get tattoos and piercings done within, although prohibited by the warden and guards. The prison's facility code is SHQ, as is sometimes abbreviated in the records of wardens. Chapter 12. Piltover as a global icon. Piltover still is reinventing itself as a city where fortunes can be made and dreams can be lived. The ingenuity of Piltover in transportation has allowed nations such as Noxus to expand rapidly as well, as their armies and supplies can travel Valoran with ease. It has also enabled Bilgewater to thrive as a hive of pirate and reaver activity, where they prey on ships journeying to and from the city. Due to the city's cosmopolitan nature, Piltover's inhabitants are as diverse as the city itself. However, there's a certain character to Piltover citizens that remains. A Piltover citizen is usually self-sufficient, doesn't expect favors, and is always striving for better things. They don't like outsiders interfering in their lives and view an open, free market as vital to their city's long-term success. While the relationship between the people of Piltover and Zon remains tumultuous and they wish to pretend to be separate entities, both are far more deeply intertwined than they may be likely to openly admit. The state of Piltover and Zon, as a culture, as a city, is changing every day. None are certain as to the future, but the cogs of time and progress will never stop turning.